I saw this article over the weekend that I thought was kind of interesting. And what tripped me out in looking at the article, it talked about taxes. It talked about President Joe Biden's plan. He wants to tax folks, families that make $400,000 or higher. And I thought it was interesting. And there was a brother who was quoted in the article who said, this is not fair. I don't feel like, I'm rich because with 400,000, and as a result, I'm gonna pull the story up. He goes, I'm gonna vote for Trump. And the headline was, I don't think of myself as rich, the Americans crossing Biden's $400,000 tax line. So I thought it was just interesting seeing that. And the reason it's a trip is because, one, a lot of people literally have no clue about taxes in this country. They have no clue about how this actually came about. And I want to go to Julian first because I posted this. I'm going to show the article in a second. And I posted this, Julian, because the first thing I said was, okay, I wonder if this brother went to college, and I wonder if he got any Pell Grants. Where does the money come from? Then I said, well, I wonder if the brother realizes that, does he think about when he's driving on roads, how's that paid for? Does he think about when he's in Tampa and they have disaster relief, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, where that money comes from? It always trips me out, these folks who complain about taxes, but never think about the stuff that taxes pay for. And then, well, how dare you do it? And don't even realize that Biden's plan, it's not increasing your taxes, Julian, on the 400,000. It's increasing your taxes on what you make above the 400,000.
Don't understand the tax system at all, Roland, as you know. They also don't understand, as an example, this brother's fussing about 400,000. If you pay into the Social Security system, you're capped out at about 160,000. So all these people who make more than 160,000 are not paying into the Social Security system, which is why we have so many inequities there. As you mentioned, roads, bridges, regulation. We've had several challenges with airplanes, parts falling out the sky and carrying on. The Federal Aviation Administration is a regulatory agency that basically is financed by our tax dollars. We're about to go into a season of extreme heat. OSHA, Office of Safety and Health Administration, is the one that passes regulations about brakes and things like that. And quite frankly, your friend, Mr. D. Satan down there in Florida, they just passed a law that prohibited localities from regulating brakes. Who works outside in the winter, in the summer rather? Brown folks, black folks, people who are agricultural. They get heat stroke. OSHA needs to step in there. So there's so many things that our taxes pay for. Our schools, of course, local taxes pay for, but also Title I schools, which are schools that serve people below a certain income level, neighborhoods below a certain income level, Title I, get federal grants because the taxes, local taxes, don't pay enough for them. So everybody fusses about taxes, and sometimes a good reason. But the fact is, we have to look at what the taxes are for, how the taxes enhance our lives, right, and what we're getting. And I'll tell you, I had an argument with some conservative on the radio recently, and the woman was talking about eliminating taxes. And I said, "How old's your mama?" And she said, "Why?" I said, "I just want to know. I'm curious." She said she was 78. I said, "Does she get Social Security?" She said, "I said, taxes pay for that. Even if it's not the Social Security taxes, they don't fully cover it. The Social Security Administration is also, because all these people talk about they don't like taxes, need to look at their lives and look at their pocketbooks and figure out what they're getting for those taxes."
What I thought was interesting, Derek, when I saw this piece here, and go to my iPad, Anthony. This is the piece itself. It's in the Wall Street Journal. I don't think of myself as rich. The Americans crossing Biden's $400,000 tax line. This guy, Aaron Littles of Tampa, says he feels unfairly targeted by the $400,000 cutoff. Okay. Now, so there was a quote in here. Let me find it. And I sort of laughed when I saw his quote because he was highly offended by this. Hold on, wait till I find it. He goes, I've hit the American dream and now I'm going to have to pay more taxes. That doesn't feel great to me. It's demotivating. Derek, here's what's crazy. When you hear that, it's strange to me. It's strange to me when I hear that. And part of the reason, Derek, why I was looking up. Part of the reason why I was looking up. I was looking at where I grew up because Saturday I stood in my new backyard, and I saw this. And so I thought about where I grew up with my parents, neither one who went to college, parents who never made more than $50,000 a year. And I thought about where I am now. I thought about moving into a new home, still owning my home in Texas where my parents live and my nephew lives there, and the life that I have. And the last thing I'm about to do, Derek, is say some bullshit like, oh my God, raising taxes is demotivating. No, it's not. But I have to understand that, you know what? The road that I drove on, the cops that patrol the area, the lights, the sewer system, the highway, all those things are paid via tax dollars. Now, I totally understand folks saying, I want to keep as much money as I can make. And so as a business owner, I understand that. But when my accountant tells me, hey, Roland, when you buy these things, you can write all of that money off. Well, that means I'm going to go buy some other stuff for the studio to make us better, to lower my tax threshold. But the fact of the matter is, when I write that check, I also understand how I want it to be used, how I don't want it to be wasted. But this notion of, oh, sure, let's demand this and this and this from government, but I don't want to pay for it. I want somebody else to pay for it. Where in the hell do you think it comes from?
You know, Roland, when you think about this discussion or this debate between socialism and capitalism, folks who have been received a lot of those tax dollars by way of incentives and grants, they don't talk about that. PPP, where do they think that money came from, Roland? Right? These grants, Pell grants, as you've already outlined, mentioned about the infrastructure. And so when you think about where our tax dollars pay for the hospitals, the schools, the infrastructure, the fire department, all these things is sourced by our tax. I want to highlight, Roland, is this. When you think about the industrial revolution that took place in the United States, the Rockefellers, Vanderbilt, J.P. Morgan, all of them, how do you think they started their company? The government incentivized them to lay that rail. Where do you think Boeing get their dollars from to build airplanes? Government. So these tax dollars are being used to help individuals basically push their business forward, right? Steve Jobs, he got a lot of money from government to help build out Apple, and so on and so forth. So I just find it very interesting when we have this conversation around socialism and capitalism. Those who, like Elon Musk, don't tell the truth that they got $600 million to help him become the multi-billionaire that he is.
On Congo, I find this to be interesting. Some fool named Sean Ryan on our YouTube chat goes, "Where has socialism ever worked?" Anthony, go to my iPad. Sean Ryan is typing on a thing called the internet that was actually created by the United States government. Government researchers created the internet. You see right here, this article was published in Scientific American's former blog network, and it says right here, okay, right here, that the Pentagon, ARPANET, was the internet's immediate predecessor. And it talks about when the internet was founded, when it was privatized. We can go on and on and on. The bottom line is, it was government researchers that put us in the position right now. Folk don't seem to pay any attention to that. The point I'm making is, if we're going to sit here and, I mean, we can debate and we want to argue. Like, I had a guy on Twitter, he goes, "Well, I just think the $400,000 is," this, I found this to be hilarious. He goes, "The $400,000 is just arbitrary." I said, okay. And he was talking about how what his family makes, and if my wife is this, and I'm this here, and I'm listening to him talk, and I went, I wonder if he even understands what the median average income is in the United States. And he was just, and again, he was just sitting here talking and talking, and I was like, okay. And he was complaining about this arbitrary 400,000 mark. And I had to remind him of this here, is that, y'all, this right here is from the U.S. Justice Department. This says the following, this is called Census Bureau Median Family Income by Family Size. The following table provides median family income data reproduced in a format designed for ease of use in bankruptcy forms. You'll see right here, okay? Starting with Alabama, it shows one earner all the way to family size. You'll see here that so Hawaii, let's say four people, Hawaii is at 125,000. Connecticut is at 137,000. Let me go see if anybody's higher than Connecticut. Maryland's 138,000. Okay, New Jersey is 140,000. New York is 117,000. So New Jersey is the highest with 4 kids. The median family income in New Jersey is 140,000 on the Congo. This fool, This dude is complaining. And y'all, here's the numbers. Right here, 4 people. Y'all, it's right here. It's justice.gov. The data is right there. 85,000, 108, 89. Let me see what the lowest is. So New Jersey's is 140,000. So the market is 85.
Massachusetts is 148.
Okay, Massachusetts is 148. So they're the highest. Okay, so right here, Alabama's 85,687. Let me see if anybody, right here, Mississippi is 74,888. New Mexico is 70,316. Let me see if anybody lower than New Mexico. No. So Massachusetts, New Mexico is $70,316. Massachusetts is $148,713. That's median family income. I'm like, bruh, you complaining that 400,000 on the Congo is arbitrary when you're making 2.5 times more than what the median family income Massachusetts make. This is why I try to tell some people, listen to what your dumb ass is saying. Yeah. I cannot sit here as somebody making that salary. Well, this is just a damn shame. That's why I went back and looked at the house I grew up in to remind my ass where I came from.
You are absolutely right. Dr. King, when he talked about socialism versus capitalism, he says in America, we have socialism for the rich and capitalism for the poor. This idea the poor got to pull them bootstraps out. But when you're talking about rich, when we talked about, Tesla and other groups, they get that government assistance and that help. When we talk about these stadiums, these big stadiums that these owners of these teams never pay for, taxpayers' dollars, they build these things. At every single juncture, we talk about what taxes are doing for our economy. And I like when I see, these guys called the patriotic millionaires, like some of America's richest individuals who constantly say, tax us, tax us, tax us. We want to pay our fair share. Because on the flip side of this also, Roland, is we got to look at the stock market and what is happening with all of these people making all of this money under Biden's economy. And the stock market is raving in ways that it hasn't been as well. So it's like they're trying to get it on both ends. And so if we are not, mindful of this, we're going to have people like that. The guy in that article, Littles, or whatever his name is, they're going to become the new face of the people who are suffering under Biden's tax policies, when every economic indicator for the most part has been up under Biden compared to Trump. And if you're not going to look at what you have been able to get in this country, what you have been able to build in this country, and want to have no type of instance or instincts of wanting to give back, then it's definitely shame on you. But this is what our government, our so-called leaders are doing. What did Trump say in 2016 when Hillary Clinton called him out? He said, not paying this amount of taxes, it makes me smart. Being able to get away and game the system. And so we see every single day they want to continue to game the system. And the fact that a brother would say that and say that I'm going for Trump, when he's going to do everything else to go against you as a black person, but you might get that tax cut, that's really all you're in it for. That's really, it's disgraceful. It's really disgraceful.
And so Mark Cuban was tweeting about this, and Mark Cuban actually posted this. This is when the direct deposit that Mark Cuban made to the government. He posted this. KPMG, his accountants, said that Mark Cuban, his taxes for this year, $275,900,000. And Mark Cuban said, I'm proud of what I've been able to do, how much I've been able to make, and I happily will make that direct deposit because I understand that these things cost. Just something people, real quick, 30 seconds. I got to go to the next guest. Go.
It's a false dichotomy to talk about socialism versus capitalism. What we're talking about is a compassionate capitalism, that's a whole other story. What we're really talking about is a capitalism that is fair. Right. That's what we're talking about. No one is advocating Soviet-style socialism. So it's a false dichotomy, but it allows crazy people to sort of say, oh, gee, we're veering towards socialism. No, what we want is a compassionate capitalism where everybody pays their fair share. And we have compassion for people at the bottom.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.